An article came out stating that Joshua Waugh might be ready to take that leap to the NHL, and he himself says he has a lot to prove and he's ready to show the training staff what he has. We're going to be talking about that, plus the Canadiens rookie camp roster has been revealed, and there's a couple surprising names on the list and definitely some ones that we want to keep an eye on. And finally, we're going to be talking about Alex Newhook and an article stating that this is a boom or bust season for the young Habs forward. So you'll want to stick around for this edition of Habs Digest. Jesse, as we get into Joshua Waugh, a quick reminder to hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. 70+% of you guys who are watching are not subscribed. And if you're enjoying the videos, we'd really appreciate if you could hit that button right now. Sincerely, we really love all the support. Jesse, Joshua Waugh, he might be ready to make the NHL. That's crazy. There was an article came out on the RDS website. They said, he was a 5th-round draft pick. This is his 3rd training camp with the Habs. But, he wants to show what he has in his stomach. And he's really, really excited to start this season with Montreal. And not only that, he said he's certain that the ultimate goal is to make the team and to play with the Canadiens. But Jesse, he's not going to put any pressure on himself. He's just there to prove what he's capable of and show to the trainers. And he knows the organizations are going to make the best decision for him. Now, while this quote isn't quite the same level of confidence as Emil Heineman saying, "Oh, you're going to see," this is still quite confident from Joshua Waugh. And I know we've been very high on him, you especially. Do you truly think that he has a shot at making the NHL? Because it seems like some other reporters might be on board with you.
I think he has a shot because, in that draft behind the scenes draft video that we saw the other day, Josh, like they were saying that they're really looking for players that have that fire in their stomach, right? And it's so funny that Joshua Waugh would kind of come out and just say something very, very soon after, right? Which I find is very true, right? Because he really impressed me first off at like the World Juniors, really kind of on that bigger stage. I thought he really showed up. And one of those biggest things was like that work ethic, that work rate that he brought, right? Like we know that he has that offensive capabilities, like 297 points in the queue in 216 games. Like he can score, but then if he could add that hustle part of his game, then this is a really good combination. That's almost where we saw him be most effective, especially with playing with other very highly skilled players. So for me, what I really liked is even though we only got to play one game with the Rocket last year, he said that he was really influenced by RHP, Raphael Harvey Bernard, just like the way that he was playing, like with his effort, how he was a pro, how he approached the game in every single facet, right? So for me, this is just so great to hear because I find it's such a good model for him again, right? We know he has the offensive skill, but then kind of bringing the effort that like an RHP brings as well, kind of putting that and combining that together as a player, I think would make for a very good combination.
And you know what, Jesse, we were talking a bit about the show before this too, but you got to think for a lot of these Habs prospects, and we'll get into some of the other ones now in a second, but if they get the shot to play with the big club in Montreal, they are going to have to make the most of it. And we saw Raphael Harvey Pinard among the many, many call-ups last season. He was the one that stood out the most. And guess what? He inked a 2-year extension and he got time on the first line last year. You got to think for someone like Joshua Waugh, who is definitely at the top of that list to make the NHL squad, if he gets that chance, he needs to prove himself right away because otherwise we have such a great deep prospect pool that there are next men up ready to go. But I think from what he said today, I mean, if he gets that shot, I really think he's going to make the most of it.
Definitely. And he's doing everything in the offseason to be ready. He says he's really kind of put in the time for conditioning, just coming in, just really good shape. He knows the parts of his game that he really needs to improve in. And I think even if he does end up starting in the AHL, he's the type of player like RHP again, right? Great example where it's like, he's going to be hard to send back down. I feel in a lot of ways, right? He's just going to be competing every night and just really excited just to hear that he's raring to go and that this competition is really going to bring out the best in these players and that they're serious. They're coming to camp. They mean it. He's 20 years old now. He's getting to the point where, he might just be ready.
Yep, he's getting very close and can't wait to see what he has to show in this camp. But Jesse, now it's time to get into the rest of the players in this camp because they revealed their training camp. Well, not training camp, I guess rookie camp roster. Yes, this is rookie camp, not training camp, but this is going to be for the rookie showcase as well, where they play against teams like Ottawa and Buffalo's prospect pools. But here it is. We got some forwards, some familiar names. Owen Beck, Jared Davidson, who had that standout year, championship year with Seattle in the WHL. Sean Farrell, we all know him. Cedric Gandon, Emil Heineman, Riley Kidney. Joshua Waugh, of course, there's lots of names here. Florian Xhekaj. Also, Ty Smilanic has decided not to go back to college, and he's going to pursue a pro hockey career. Jesse, there's a ton of names here as we see David Reinbacher, William Trudeau, Logan Mailloux on defense. There's so many names to analyze here, but which ones to you stand out as guys that can maybe take that step in this rookie camp? Because as a lot of you guys may remember, this is where guys like Arber, Xhekaj got their break last year. I mean, if it wasn't for his showing in this camp, Arber wouldn't be where he is today. His brother is playing in this tournament this year. Jesse, who stands out to you?
David Reinbacher for sure. Very much just looking forward to seeing him play so much. You feel like he's just going to be such a great ad. We had a great, kind of rookie camp last year, great crop, but you just see kind of from year to year how it's improving and getting even better. So that's definitely very exciting there. I'm definitely looking forward to see Joshua Watt, Logan Mailloux, as well as, Emil Heineman, and sorry about that. But yeah, in addition to that, I'm definitely very excited to be seeing Logan Mailloux as well as Emil Heineman, but just so many great young players coming up, but just so excited on top of that for just hockey coming back in one weekend to see all these great young players, just getting me really excited for the season to begin.
Oh, it's so exciting, Jesse. As we approach the 1 year anniversary of this channel, right? It's so crazy to see how far we've come, how far these players have come, right? But like you said, this prospect thing is just so amazing. I mean, for me, like you mentioned, David Reinbacher, this is a place for him to stand out, and if he dominates among everyone else, you got to think the Habs are going to give him, at least maybe give him the option to play with the Habs this season. We're still not sure about that, but man, am I ever intrigued by Florian Xhekaj. His brother Arber made that jump last year, and while Florian definitely isn't maybe as good a prospect as Arber is now, it's still so interesting to see if that just runs in the blood, right? If he can prove that he is worth that draft pick. And also another little note to Emil Heineman, who dominated Laval last year. This is his chance among some other guys who maybe haven't played pro hockey yet to really show off his goal-scoring touch. So I know we're both very, very excited. But Jesse, let's get into our third young Canadian of the day, and that is, Alex Newhook. Is this a make or break year for Alex Newhook? Now, The Athletic did an article, an under-23 player on each team who kind of has to step up this year, sort of implying it's a make or break for a lot of these guys. And their choice for Montreal was Alex Newhook, drafted number 16 in 2019. And, after his third season, he only put up 30 points in 82 games. The Habs, they say the Habs have strong faith in their development after seeing the success, at least the so far success, of the Kirby Dach project. They picked up Newhook for a first and second rounder, but they said the Avs probably felt that Newhook wasn't going to take that next step, so they traded him when his value was high, and they eventually flipped the pick they got for Ross Colton, while Montreal is betting that Newhook can play better with more minutes and more consistent opportunities high up in the lineup. I want to know your thoughts on this, Jesse, because I personally think that Alex Newhook is going to fit in very well for Montreal, but I also don't think that measuring him by his points necessarily this season, unless he gets like 20 or even like 30 points, like maybe that's maybe not so great. But I don't think he needs to make a huge leap this year. I just think he needs to show that he's comfortable in the Habs system and things will eventually work out for him. What do you think?
I think so too, and it's so exciting bringing a player like this in because he has the chance to just be a very dynamic and electric type of player. You got to feel like a player that has that skill again, and then, that work rate, maybe a little bit smaller, but, he really competes out there on the ice. But I think the big X factor in kind of determining if he's going to be a boom or a bust next year is kind of Kent Hughes and his insider kind of insight into all of this, because he's familiar with his agent Newhook at Cortex Management. So you got to feel like he's really familiar with this player. He's studied him. He knows what he's about, right? So I feel like Kent Hughes, when he was making this very calculated risk, that he did this with a lot of knowledge about the player. And I think Kent Hughes has done a great job so far of really finding those diamonds in the rough. But I feel there's a couple of other reasons of why Alex Newhook will be a great fit. And one of those main reasons is that he just fits the style of play that we do so much, where for years we've been a team that really plays off of the rush. He's a great skater. That kind of suits his game of how he likes to play. So I think that right there, if you're going to a team where, they really have your style of play, of course, that is going to be very, very helpful for you. I think he's going to get a little bit more consistency this year in terms of his line mates. I think, getting that increased ice time. I think just the fact of just getting more experience, still a younger player, but that increased experience, which I think does still take time to develop. I think with all those factors combined, I think that's, very much like Dach, that, we're going to see an increase in his play. We're going to see a better Alex Newhook this year than last year.
I completely agree. And I think one thing with Newhook too is that he's a very free flowing player, right? He's smart defensively and offensively. He's very fast, and he has a decent stick too, and he likes to forecheck a little bit. Sometimes it worked out well, sometimes it didn't last year. But the thing with Newhook is I feel like in a lineup like the Montreal Canadiens and in a lineup where Coach Marty St. Louis is really allowing players to be themselves, someone like Alex Newhook especially can really thrive from that freedom that's given to his game. For him to kind of be able to be like, I want to make this judgment call, I'm going to go do it. And I think that's going to be one of those points that really helps him play really well with Montreal this year. So while I can see where they're coming from by like this being maybe a boom or bust year, if he doesn't progress, this might just be who he is. At the same time, though, I can't see a world where he's not a good fit with Montreal. I can't see a world where we're not happy with his play, and I think we're both very, very excited to see what he has in the tank for this season. But that'll do it for this news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000. We're almost at 8. We really appreciate all the support. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.